And if that doesn't stir your ire up enough, this next clip will, as I show you Kamala Harris lying to the American people.
Harris forcefully condemned that new curriculum on Thursday.
Just yesterday in the state of Florida, they decided middle school students will be taught that enslaved people benefited from slavery. They insult us in an attempt to gaslight us, and we will not stand for it.
Please help me, please. If you can stand that woman for longer than 2 seconds, then you have the patience of Job. I'll give you that. But I do want to tell you something, and you can rewind, but make sure to like and share the video before you do that. But you can skip back and look at this, and you can kind of confirm what I'm saying here. But I have figured out Kamala Harris's tell. I can tell you when she's lying. It's very subtle. It's very kind of nuanced here, so you have to be really careful. But the way that you can tell when Kamala Harris is lying is her lips are moving. Now, there's been a lot of people that have wanted to try to engage thoughtfully Kamala Harris's comments here, and that's really what I want to take the bulk of time here to just try to help you with. They've analyzed the claim that Ron DeSantis, that the people who put this curriculum together in the state of Florida, that essentially what they're doing is they're praising slavery. You know, their white supremacy is showing, and they're just essentially saying that slavery was kind of bad, but it wasn't all bad, right? I mean, come on, let's level here. And so Ron DeSantis, of course, the white supremacist, we all know, right, has put this curriculum together in Florida just to try to soft pedal slavery because, after all, wasn't that bad. Which, of course, we all know is a total lie. Again, Kamala Harris's lips were moving. But she doesn't care if it's not true. This is my problem with conservative pundits taking the time to analyze this claim. And I've even heard conservative pundits out there say things like, what about man's search for meaning, where we get the story of Viktor Frankl and him in concentration camps and trying to find meaning in the midst of his intense suffering in the worst of conditions and all that kind of stuff. And people can find meaning in suffering, and maybe even Christians have jumped into this fray and tried to justify what's actually being said in this curriculum here. But there's one really, really big problem with entering into a conversation about this at all, is that Kamala Harris knows she's lying and doesn't care. See, this is textbook Saul Alinsky. For those of you who don't know, he is the man that basically put together the modern day textbook for radical leftism, and he is the mentor of Hillary Clinton. It's surprising he's still alive, or at least, sorry, he's not still alive, but it's surprising that he wasn't killed while he was alive by Hillary Clinton. But Saul Alinsky said this in his book for radicals. He said, "He who fears corruption fears life." Now, first of all, I just have to tell you, Saul, even though this was way back in the day when you wrote this, I mean, you can't put people who fear corruption fear life. Geez, talk about transphobic, Saul Alinsky. We know, all of us know, trans people have been around forever, since the dawn of creation, when God said, let there be light, and then he said he wanted to create male and female in his image, male and female and every other 100 other genders there are out there. We know that trans people have been around forever. So he who fears corruption. But ultimately, let's get to the substance of the claim there. He who fears corruption fears life. In other words, you cannot go through life without corruption. Sounds like the guy kind of in Braveheart, the leper, the disgusting, nasty, rotting human being whose outside is only rivaled by his inner corrupt, decaying heart. That guy in Braveheart who says, we all lose heart. Every one of us loses heart. We just have to figure out how, in the midst of losing heart, to get along in this world. So he who fears corruption fears life. So in other words, if you're going to live, you're going to have to be corrupt, and you're going to have to use corruption for your own gain. It's exactly what Kamala Harris is doing here. So conservative pundits who are concerned with how this curriculum is being misrepresented and want to build a case to defend it are forgetting something simple. These people are liars. They not only practice evil, they condone evil, and most importantly, they know it's wrong. This is why it's important for us to have at least a little bit of moralistic fervor in society today. We've been hushed, especially Christians, hushed so much by people who want to say, oh, don't be judgmental, don't be intolerant, and I'll make sure to call you a word with phobic at the end of it if you don't do exactly what I want. This is why we must resist all of that, because they are nothing but silencing tactics. And this happens especially to Christians, but this happens to all of us in so many different ways. You know, just the other day I was posting something about, I think it was abortion, and I said something was woke, and the individual got angry because I wasn't using the original definition of the word woke, and rather I was using kind of the more common understanding of what woke actually means, essentially. And then of course they followed that up with a comment about the fact that I was white, and then they followed that up with a comment about the fact that I don't know anything. So apparently they didn't know that woke has expanded its definition far beyond its original usage. And you guys on the left, obviously you love to distort and pervert language, so you should be aware of this kind of phenomenon, that woke has gone far beyond its original kind of meaning. Anyway, all of that is a tactic to make you quiet. Why? Because the only cure for liars is truth tellers. And the world has done a pretty good job of marginalizing Christians and their voices so that we feel a little bit uncomfortable speaking up about these things. If this weren't so, I have a question for you. When was the last time you actually posted something controversial on your Facebook or on your Instagram and stood by those claims? Maybe to put a little finer point on it here, when was the last time you posted something about the evil of abortion? Now, I'm speaking to you, especially you soccer moms out there who don't want to alienate your unbelieving friends. The reason I am encouraging this, and the reason I'm bringing this up, is just simply there is one reason why you won't speak about it. You may try to pretty it up with a bunch of different language, but the reason you won't speak about it is that the liars have won by and large. The liars have put enough social pressure on you that you don't think that your voice really truly matters at the end of the day, and you think the best way to issue forth the truth is to try to be as compassionate as you possibly can without ever telling the truth. And the truth of the truth is this, is that yes, be as compassionate as you possibly can, be as whimsical as you possibly can, but tell the truth. See, Kamala Harris is hoping, praying to whatever God she prays to. It probably looks more like a mirror, that you don't tell the truth. Because the only way for these kind of lies to work is for them to be told over and over and over again without resistance. This is yet another reason to think for yourself and to develop a worldview that can withstand seductive lies. Because the kind of seductive lies that are told in the present, you're racist if you think that. Well, nobody wants to be called a racist. If you think this, then you don't stand for marriage equality. Well, I don't, do I stand for marriage inequality? No, I'm a Christian. I don't stand for marriage inequality. God is a God of justice. Well, social justice. You should be a social justice warrior, of course. Well, does that mean that then I have to stand for basically redistributive, group programs that border on, if not communism, at least equity programs that really are just demoralizing to the people they're attempting to help and really thievery to the people that they're taking things from? I mean, all of this is just a simple reminder to us, especially for those of you Christians out there, you Christian stay-at-home moms, you Christian soccer moms out there who you can't protect your kids forever. You must get into the habit of telling the truth. Because, as the saying goes, a lie can travel around the world twice before the truth can even get its pants on. The only reason that is so is because we live in a secular society where secularism reigns. Because, by and large, the people who know better are quiet. Now, the final point about everything that Kamala Harris did here is that this is yet another example where the demand for racism outstrips the supply. What white person, by the way, would have pretended to be black in slavery times or in the Reconstruction era or in Jim Crow? The fact that we even have white people in the present who are pretending to be black, or the fact that we can have a mostly white summer of love, Black Lives Matter, riot, burning, looting, and all of that stuff, is because we live in one of the least racist societies on the planet. All of this is nothing but an attempt, a tool to try to subvert power for wicked and corrupt people.
So you just got done watching a small excerpt of a much larger episode. You can find the link to that full episode down below in the description of this video. So you definitely want to check that out, because if you like that clip, you'll like the much larger episode. And while you're at it, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and click that little bell to be notified when great new episodes of Indie Thinker come your way. Thanks for watching.